Hey, so it's Dylan from EatWild, and today I want to talk about an important part of hunting. If you've had some success with harvesting an animal, you're gonna have to hang it up somewhere. So I often walk around the woods or in the campsites, and I see all kinds of different takes on how to build a meat pole. So I thought I'd show you how to do that today. So I'm gonna show you a few things. I'm gonna show you how to uh, take a pole and tie it securely up in a tree. And we're also talking about tarping up the meat, and then we'll show a little bit about some techniques about hanging deer. So we got a few laying around camp here that will get hung up in the tree. So we'll check that out. So the first step is that we've been doing this a long time, and we're coming to the same camp every year. So we just bring a ladder with us, which helps save us a lot of danger, because you're gonna have to crawl up this tree. If you don't have a ladder, you can always back up your pickup truck up against the tree, and that'll give you a platform to get a little higher in the tree. But in this situation, we have with ladder, which is great. Now we've gone and salvaged a pole here that's the width of the two trees that we're setting up between. You want to pick two trees that are going to be around for a while, and you want to pick a pole that's not too heavy, but still got some strength to it. So this one's about 4 inches in diameter. It's maybe a little overkill, but hopefully we'll have a number of deer hanging off it, so we're going to put a little weight on it. If the trees are closer together, you can get away with a narrower pole in between them. So to get started, what I've done is I've just tried a choke knot here on this end of the pole, and I'm just going to wrap this around the back of this tree once I get it up high, and then tie it off. So.
Hopefully that's high enough.
Okay, so what I've done is I've just looped the rope around the back of the tree and lashed it to the front of the pole. And I've just gone around and I just had a couple granny knots. It's a very simple knot, and if you just have a look up there, you can just see where it goes around the back of the tree and around the front of the pole. And that should be secure now. Now it's going to drop down a little bit when the weight comes down on it, but it should be still high enough for us to hang our deer from.
So you can see the knot that I tied there. It just looped around the back of the tree, and it kind of hangs down, and that's plenty good enough. You don't need to tie. You don't need to like put nails in it or lash it on like crazy, and makes it really easy to take down. But it's plenty tough enough for what we're doing.
So I start out by just tying a loop here, and then I just got a really secure start to my knot system. Good start. So what I'm basically doing is I'm just running the line behind, around the front of the pole here, and then back through, and then tying it off here. All right, so we've got both ends up with the meat pole. You can always leave a little bit more at the end up here if you want to have a little extra room for an extra deer or some more hanging space. We're on Crown land in British Columbia here, so it's public land. You know, and for sure we could leave this up when we go, because a number of hunters are probably come and use the same area. But there's a lot of places where that would be unethical, and it's always important to take it down. So if you can, at the end of your trip, untie it, take it down, maybe stash the pole back in the tree somewhere so you can access it next year and build your meat pole for next year. So the next thing I do is just going to get it ready to string a tarp over top. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to run a guy line above the pole here, so we can stretch a tarp over top and still have access to the pole, so we can hang our deer from there.
So I've pretty much got my meat pole ready to go here. I've got the pole there, the tarp over top, and there's a little bit of space between the guy line up top there and the pole, so I can still run the rope over and hang our deer. So we'll get the deer hung up here next.
We've got a few deer here that are ready to go to be loaded onto the meat pole here. A couple things I want to talk about. To get them up there, we bring a little pulley, which will really make the work a lot easier. So we'll get this thing set up and working for us, take the load off. If you don't have a pulley, you can always just throw a rope up and over the meat pole and you can have one end tied to the antler of the deer or the stick between its legs, and then the other end to the bumper of a truck, and just hoist it up. Just have it pull the rope pulling up and over the meat pole. That'll work as well. But this is really a nice system, especially if you're expecting to have a few deer coming back to camp. Another thing I want to talk about is sort of the meat care aspect, like what we're doing here. So you can see here, we've got 3 deer here, and they've all still got their hides on them. And the reason why they've got their hides on them still is that it's really cold here. It's below 0 or just around 0. And we're going to be here for about a week, so we leave the hides on because it protects the meat for that period of time, and because it's sustained cold temperatures of less than, say, 5 degrees, I'm confident that these deer are staying nice and cold and the meat is in good shape, so there's no concern around basically bacteria developing with those lower temperatures. Later on, we'll skin them out and we'll put them in game bags for transporting them back home, but for the duration of the week, as long as it stays cold, we'll have the hides on. As soon as it warms up, we'll get the hides off and we'll get them in game bags and take that next step. So we'll probably show you how to do that in a little bit. So I've just got a loop here and rope. You just throw up and over the meat pole and throw the hook in it. Oh, it's a little bit tight. Okay. And then I can run my pulley down. Deer. Now I've got these pre-tied on each deer, so I'm going to bring that pulley down a little bit further. So I can go ahead and just hook it to the top of the knot here, and have this end free to tie it off over the rope, over the pole. That should just go up pretty easy. Like that. I'm just gonna run the pulley rope around here. A lot easier when somebody else is doing it with you. Couple bites there. So I got him up there. I'm just gonna tie him off to this line now, and I can reuse the pulley for the next deer. Pull that off, so that's hanging free there. I'm gonna move the pulley over and get the next one down. Got a few deer hung up here now. So you got lots of room on this meat pole for a few more deer. Hopefully the rest of our partners will get one before we run out of time. Got the pulley ready for the next one. And we talked a little bit about leaving the deer whole to keep the meat from drying out if the weather's nice and cool. But eventually you're going to have to get the hide off, either right before you butcher it, I guess, is what Jeff and Ben will be doing with their deer. They'll take it home and then skin it and butcher it at home. But I chose to skin the animal out while I still have the advantage of the meat pole here. So I went ahead and skinned it out, and I've covered it up with a game bag. Now we've got another video about how to skin an animal out and how to put a game bag on and stuff, so you can check that one out. But these are your 2 options for hanging around camp. You can go ahead and just do this right away, and then you've got your meat is protected from the bugs, and it'll stay nice and cool, and as long as you have the tarp over top, then it'll stay dry. So those are your couple options. So anyways, this is what I wanted to show you today, just how to set up a meat pole and a couple options for hanging a deer, and hope you found this useful. So check us out at eatwild.ca, or you can find our app on the App Store, the EatWild hunting app. And other than that, keep watching our YouTube videos. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.